Hi, this is Pastor Jackson with the Empowerment Broadcast. Thank you for joining us tonight on the broadcast. Really, really appreciate you watching us on our show because it makes it really, really important, for us to come together and we can learn from each other. So thank you for joining us. Do me a favor, share this video that others can watch at their leisure, and also go to our YouTube page and be a subscriber so that you can be notified of other broadcasts that we also do as well. So we just thank you for being with us tonight. As always, the Empowerment Broadcast is designed to help us as believers to be stretched so we can learn more and be better servants, for the kingdom of God. So we, again, thank you tonight for the broadcast. And I pray that you had a great week, that you had some great this new year has been great for you, and that you are really enjoying, thus far the first couple of days of the year, and that God is doing some amazing things in your life. So tonight we got a great, great show. I'm sure you've seen the advertisement that we had out the last couple of days dealing with the pastor's wife. What does the pastor's wife go through? How does she enjoy her role as the pastor's wife? Do she see her husband the same way that members view him? So tonight, that's what we're going to deal with tonight, the pastor's wife. What's going on behind the scenes? And because a lot of times we see the we call the first lady sometime, she got a big hat on her head, so on the front row, and all she do is smile. So we're going to see what actually goes on in the lives of some pastor's wives. If you are a pastor's wife, then this is a show for you, because I'm sure you can identify to some of the things that they're going to talk about, some good, some bad, but it's information that we can learn, from listening to people that's actually in that vein, doing it on a day by day basis, and really, enjoying the role that they have. So tonight we got two great ladies on tonight that are pastors' wives that are doing some amazing things and have some amazing ministries. The husbands are a good friend of mine, and I know them both. They walk in some great up integrity. They're doing some things and really doing great, great things in the community. So we're just really, really grateful that they are coming on tonight to help us, to learn more about the role of a pastor's wife. So without further ado, I want to go ahead and welcome them to the show. Welcome to the show, my good friend Tamika Tolliver and Lynn Cunningham. Welcome to the broadcast tonight. Thank you for being with us on the show tonight.
And thank you, Pastor Jay, for having me. I'm glad to be here.
Amen. How about it, Sister Cunningham? Good to see you as well. How you doing tonight?
Oh, I'm doing fine. Thank you for having me here.
Great.
Great honor.
Great, great. Thank you all both for being with us tonight on the broadcast. We know that your role as a first lady, as some people call the pastor's wife, is very, very important. When it comes to the ministry, and what you do, what you bring to the ministry. It has to have a lot of weight with it, because your husband, it's impossible for him to do the ministry, without what you bring to the table. So I'm gonna start with you, Sister Tamika. What's your role there in the ministry of New Straight Gate?
Well, Pastor, it used to be everything, especially starting out. So I think I can narrow it down to being First Lady right now. We have some people who's covering the other areas that I had to cover once before. So right now, my role, First Lady, just being there for my husband, in any way that he needs me to be.
Okay. So a lot of times when you find yourself, as in that role, do you also find it very challenging in some areas?
All the time.
So
Yes, sir.
what would you say is your one of your greatest challenges for you being a first lady?
I would say being heard, because how we used to come up, in the church, women wasn't, heard too much or didn't really have a voice. So I think that's why I kind of sat back and tried to be quiet a lot, even though I did have a lot to say. but it just wasn't heard of at that time of a woman just speaking. And I'm not just talking about preaching or, being a pastor or anything like that, but most times just saying anything, you get looked over. A first lady does get looked over a lot of times. And that's really not a good feeling.
Hmm. Hmm. We gonna come back to that in a minute because I want to know more about that. But for you, Sister Cunningham, your role there in the ministry where you are as Impact, outreach ministry, what role do you play there as a pastor's wife?
At this moment, I play everything, uh, from housekeeper to secretary, uh, program planner. I mean, everything that that my husband need to make the ministry go forward. So, uh, hopefully, we'll have someone to come in and help pick up the ball and carry some of the load. But at this point, it's me and my husband.
Right, and sometimes it's difficult, for the role that you play because, like Sister Tolliver just said, sometimes you're not heard, you're not seen sometimes because of what you do. You got to put a lot of hats on. It's just not. I think the traditional person that just get the big hat and sit in the front row. I don't think you two play that role, do you?
No,
that's, that's not
that's
your
not
role.
me.
That's not you, okay? Because you actually got to get your hands dirty uh, inside ministry, right?
That's right.
Yeah. So, Sister Harper, as you were saying earlier about not being heard and kind of being overlooked, is that because of the busyness of ministry, or where you pull that from?
No, sir. It has nothing to do with the business of the ministry. It just had to do with, how you would come up in the church. For instance, just like apostolic Pentecostal. I've been both. I come out of Pentecostal and being apostolic now, you know, for a time, women was just not heard. Seen, yes, but not heard. As you said, some would have the big hat, sit on the front row and just smile and say amen when their husband is preaching. That's the establishment I came out of. So becoming a first lady, I really had to learn to open up after that. I mean, because you may know I was always a quiet person, so I really did have to open up. So the Lord had to take me down different avenues just to get me to open up to talk. So now I had ladies under me that needed some teaching, in specific areas. So I honestly had to go to God and ask him to help me with that. And as I stated earlier, I've always had a lot to say. It's just, if I can say, I guess it just wasn't the right time for certain people, if that makes sense.
Of course it does. Because I think a lot of times as a pastor's wife, not being heard is frustrating. And the pastor he trying to do all he can to keep you happy and the members and so forth, and just trying to hear what's going on. So Sister Cunningham, did you wake up one day and say, "Lord, let me be a pastor's wife"? Was that your prayer?
No, not at all.
Oh,
Not at
okay.
all.
So what type of adjustments did you have to make when it was time for the ministry to birth? Because you hadn't always been in the role of a pastor's wife. So what adjustments did you have to make when it came to becoming now I'm the pastor's wife? So what adjustment you made in your life for that?
Well, for me, it was like I guess, another dying out because once you married, you have to die out to your will, your way. And when you become a pastor wife, you lose a lot of your identity as a individual, and you have to pick on this whole community role as you got to be everything for everybody, and you don't have too many people there for you. So you have to try to figure out your emotions, keep them together by all at the same time keeping the unity in the body.
Okay. Okay. I'm gonna ask this question to both of you all. All right. When it comes to now, when you having some situations in your own life, who do you talk to? Because you really can't dive into the people in the ministry per se. You can't just spill your beans to them. Um, and so, who do you talk to? Do you have a circle of people that outside the ministry that you can call and say, I'm having an issue, I'm having a situation going on. So, who do you call or reverence in your life that you talk with? Sister Cunningham, go
Well, for
first.
me, oh,
Yeah, go ahead.
I'm sorry. For me, I have my spiritual godmother. I talk to her, and I have um, my cousin that I kind of speak with her, and we kind of I vent and get some insight, and but and then of course I call Lady J. So I have a couple people that I can kind of talk to.
Okay, great. Sister Tolliver, how about yourself?
Well, there is one mother in Augusta that I would go to her about anything. I don't care what the situation would be. I would just go to her, because I do feel her spirit, and she is a praying woman. And first off, I wouldn't go to anyone who's not a praying person, because if you're not, you can't hear from God for me. If in that moment that I need to hear from God, but I can't because of my emotions, then you really need to be a praying person. But I've also joined this group online. It's a sister we used to go to. She's a pastor now, but we used to go to church with her years ago. So she started this sister group online. So I talked to her, and I also talked to her mother when there's just, something that's just bogging me down a little bit. Now I don't have to go into detail with her mother. I just really ask her just to pray for me, and she goes into instant prayer right then and there.
That's great because it's important. I know myself as a leader, as a pastor, I find myself, have to have a circle of pastors, that can identify what you're going through, and you can't just go grab some off the street and say, hey, man, listen at me. And at the same time, you got to be careful in what pastors that you talk with because everybody can't help you. Everybody can't hold your business. And then some people will spray your business. Oh, I thought you was a stronger man in God than that, so forth. But everybody got issues. Everybody got a situation that they're dealing with. But I think you need to have someone that you can go to and talk with. And it helps you, to relieve what you're going through. That doesn't weaken you as a first lady. That doesn't weaken you, as a pastor's wife. It just makes you real. And a lot of people in the ministry sometimes think the pastor's wife don't go through anything. But who is the person that helps the pastor out after everybody done beat him up? He has to come on to you, all right? And then you all have to be a detriment assist. So when he's having a difficult day or something going on in his life, he comes home and now you have to deal with that. So how do you both deal with that issue when your husband come home and he's having a day and you having a day, and so now you got to kind of help him with his day. So how does that happen like that?
Well, I used to ask him, has he heard from the Lord? If he has had a bad day and he wants to make a rash decision, I would ask him, well, have you talked with the Lord about it? What did he say? But other than that, I do try to ask him what's wrong, and, how can I help? Because I think talking is very important. I know sometimes for a man, they just need a moment to just sit there, I guess, be in silence and pray, before they could just talk to us, and that's fine. But after that, it has to be talked about, because we know that y'all carry an awful lot on y'all plates. I mean, even when it comes to us, y'all carry an awful lot.
Wow, absolutely. How about you as well, Sister Cunningham? How how do you address that issue as well?
Well, for me, I kind of look at my husband, talk to him, kind of see where he at, what kind of space he in. Then I just move from there. Because sometimes he give me a look, I just need some me time. So I give him his me time, and I just go into prayer. Um, then sometimes he just don't want to talk about it. He hold it in. So you just got to kind of know where you at, what to do, and there's no manual to it. You just got to be very prayerful.
You just
Yeah.
got to know your husband.
That's it.
Absolutely, absolutely. So if you can talk to thousands of members of churches and you would say, this is the one thing that if y'all do this, it'll sure help my job out a whole lot. What would
Ooh,
that
yeah.
what would that one thing or two or three or 10 things you would tell them, to do? What would be a few things that you would tell them? I'm gonna start with you, Tamika. What would a few things that you would tell the members of the congregation? If you all would just do some of these things, it would really take the load off of me and also off the pastor.
Well, for one, I would have to say get a prayer life if you don't have one.
Okay.
That's just one thing I always teach, get a prayer life. Because I just believe once you get that prayer life, God will instruct you and he will lead you into to let you know what some issues are that you can help with. Because we can easily tell a person, hey, I need you to do this, I need you to do that, I need you to just get on board. But we can say that till we blue in the face. And then especially if it's new members, somebody who's really starting out and really don't know, you're gonna kind of have a hard time with that, getting them to adjust. So for one, for me, and I'm just saying that's just for me, get a prayer life first, because who nobody can tell you better than the Lord. If I'm
Mm-hmm.
going to the Lord on your behalf, then I'm asking Lord, look, open up their understanding, open up their eyes so they can see. Because I've been through that. I need you to do this, I need you to do that. Sometimes it might get done, but then it falls off. So
Mm-hmm.
what else is there to do?
Okay. What about you, Sister Cunningham?
Well, me, personal, we in the beginning church, so it's starting off new. We pastor teach prayer life and all that, and yes, they need one. But my thing will be accountability, the first thing, because it's undue stress when the pastor's wording is you okay, where you at, have he offended you, have he done this to you, and when all you can do is just call, you don't have to give them your business. Just say, look, I'm not gonna make it today. I'm okay, but that will help a whole lot. Um, and then let's work in the ministry together. Let us, we then are labels workers together. Whatever you find your hand to do, let's do something. Don't just come and go and just take it for granted, I would say. But you just come and like, oh, it is what it is, and just be more part of it.
Great, great. So, what have you learned so much about yourself when it comes to being a pastor's wife? What have what have you learned, about you, about your walk with Christ, and just your character, your integrity, all that thing. What has been some of the greatest challenges and some of the greatest things you learned about yourself? Sister Cunningham.
For me, I am a very outspoken person, very vocal. Um, I have a mentality. I believe in teaching people how to treat me. So I had to kind of digress, and that's kind of hard for me as a first lady because um, I can't just a- attack, and just say do this, do that. I have to come with a new finesse way to do this, and these grown people, even though they act sometimes like they're not, and you have to treat them as grown people, and
Hmm.
so a lot. It was me learning how to be different, in other words, because I had to learn how to be more humble,
Okay.
how to be more quiet, because I'm very I confront. I confront stuff. I'm not the one to lay in the back and hide down, and so I had to learn how to digress and to humble myself more in this role.
Okay. Okay. And what about you, Sister Tamika? What about you?
Well, Pastor, I can say the Lord showed me up. He showed me up real good. Because he had to absolutely show me everything about me. And first of all, I needed deliverance when it comes to dealing with. I'm just gonna say it, when it came to dealing with some ladies. Oh my God, I'm like, Lord, deliver me, just help me. Because at some moment you do want to go off. You really do want to go off. You want to show your tail. But God had to actually just sit me down and show me how He wanted me to react, and give me the right things to say to certain people, because it's easy to say anything, especially if someone's making you upset. Get you hot on the collar real fast, being a first lady. But God really had to show me how to talk to some of the ladies. Some of them was okay to talk to, and some of them would just make you just want to wring your own neck. I'm sorry that, but he really had to just show me everything about my character. So like Sister Cunningham said, you really have to get rid of you, and I really had to get rid of me in order to deal with a lot of the ladies.
Wow. Wow. Because a lot of times you have to um, not share your husband, but allow your husband to counsel and to do other things. Sometime. And so the pastor's wife can be jealous or have a jealous spirit or have a no trusting spirit within themselves. How does that affect the ministry if a pastor's wife is very, very jealous? What do you think?
Well, I'll be honest with you, Pastor. I kind of said a little bit of this to my husband last night. I think it all comes down to y'all, really, to the men, to the pastors, because a lot of things that y'all can do will actually cause that wife to, be jealous, have a jealous spirit or whatever. Now I know that's not right, but it's just certain things that y'all can just cut out, And I'm not trying to throw y'all under the bus, under the table, or nothing like that. But a lot of things that y'all can do differently so that wife won't have a thought, so she won't be, have one eye open on him, just want to go off on him or whatever, or go off on the woman, but if she does see that she has a jealous spirit, then she really does need to sit down and, she needs to talk to him about it. And also she needs to go in prayer about it, because that's something that the Lord will have to help her with, but also that husband can also help that wife out, concerning that situation too. Because when it does come to counseling, me personally, I do not believe that the husband should counsel by himself. So that's just one example. If he feels like he wants to counsel by himself, especially when it comes to a female, then yes, that wife need to raise all the questions. Okay, what's going on? For me, I had one to say to my husband, this was years ago. She said that she didn't want me in there. And he granted her wish. He did not have me in there. So
Oh,
yes, that made me upset. It didn't make me jealous, but it made me upset, Pastor. I'm just gonna be honest with you.
Right.
That's just not something that you do,
Correct.
especially when you know what spirit that person is carrying.
Mm-hmm. So I'm gonna get to you, Sister Cunningham. But Sister Me, you said there's some things that we as the husband can do, things that we can
Yes.
cut out to prevent the wife from having, one eye open and looking sideways at people and so forth and so on, right? Uh, if so, what would you want us to do different as the pastors, as the pastor of the church, to help to
Well,
help to help keep down that jealous and not trusting issue?
Well, for one, it's like the example I just gave. I don't care what woman asks the husband, can she speak with him and alone, and I think that should raise a red flag.
Mm-hmm.
And I think that the pastor should come to their wives and say, look, this person wants to talk to me. She doesn't want you in there. Well, they need to come to some type of agreement or something, find out really what's going on before you actually counsel that person. So that's just one example of what I'm talking about, how pastors could do things a little better. Because a lot of people, like the members, a lot of them don't know what's going on in the pastor's home, because the woman has to still come forth and smile,
Mm-hmm.
act like
Mm-hmm.
nothing's going on,
Mm-hmm.
act like she doesn't have any emotions,
Mm-hmm.
so that's why I said it's just a lot of things that y'all can do. Don't you know of course you heard my husband talk about a lot of things and how pastors travel, go to different places, and a lot of them don't want to take their wives, and probably a lot of them don't want to go. But for the ones that don't want to go, I mean, that the husband doesn't want her to go, why not? So
Right.
it's just a lot of things that needs to be talked about. And like I said, that can prevent that wife from going off in church. There's
Yeah.
just been too many shootings. We heard about the husband,
Right.
getting shot or whatever. And I have heard about some first ladies attacking the mistresses in the church. Why is there a mistress?
Right. Right.
That's what I'm saying. You got to sit down and talk about this stuff, and that is my point that I'm making. It's just a lot of things that y'all can do to prevent y'all wives from going off. I'm not just talking about having a jealous spirit, because some do have jealous spirits, but some is just the problems creep in. She
Yeah.
might not have a jealous spirit, but it's just become a problem.
Yeah, yeah. Come on, Sister Cunningham, because I know you can chime in there as well. Some things that can help prevent that wife from just being, jealous or having that evil look or looking sideways.
well, I concur what Sister Taller Lady T said. Number one, if you make sure that you do things decency and order,
Yes.
because we're told as first ladies, as women of the church, how we supposed to carry ourselves, dress modest, do all this. So if the pastor do likewise and carry themselves in counseling, well, in my husband church or when impact, that ain't gonna happen. You ain't no woman gonna talk to my husband, and I'm not gonna be there. That's not acceptable thing. We're gonna do things decency and order. We're gonna do it
Absolutely.
according to the word. And if he do things otherwise, then there's gonna be a problem.
Right, right. And so you find yourself a lot of times. Do you find yourself a lot of times talking to your husband after church at the house? Listen, listen. This we gotta do this. We gotta do this, and I mean because we're human as well. We're learning, so I'm sure there's a lot of conversations that you both have with your husbands about things, right? Don't do this again. Listen, because let me ask you a question. A lot of people see your husband as the anointed man of God, right? And that person see them walking in the clouds with Jesus, and so right. But you also see a different side, not necessarily a bad side, but you see a different side of your husband. Is that safe to say?
Yes,
Oh
the
yeah.
good, the bad, and the ugly.
So how do you deal with that when people, see your husband as the anointed man of God, and everything Pastor said, but then you have to at the same time because most pastors, I'm gonna speak for myself. Most of me, of course, is of God, but a lot of things that I've learned is from my wife, and it's not from hours in prayer and something like that. I'm not knocking that, but that's just some lessons that she's taught me. About listen. I understand you the past, but A, B, C, D. Do
Right.
you find yourself doing that as well
Yes,
Oh
sir.
yes.
on a
Yes.
on a consistent basis? And but at the same time, it's not that you're trying to pull him down. It's just teaching us. Is that safe to say?
Yes, sir.
Oh yes.
And so
I mean,
go ahead.
I'm, I'm sorry. For me, like we have those conversations when something happened. I say, okay, Pastor. I tell him, I say, oh babe, I need to talk to the pastor right now. So I don't need him to be getting authoritated or I need to. This is my concern. This is what I seen. This is where I'm at, and I need you to address this.
Hmm.
And then he'll address it, and we'll come to a conclusion that okay, XYZ, we're gonna do this, and so most of the time it's resolved.
Good, good. How about you, Sister Tamika? Same thing.
Yes, sir. I have had to talk to mine plenty of times, and like you said, it's not to bring him down, drag him down, and make him look bad or anything like that. It's just what you see, and it still goes back to what I said. You have to know your husband, so you should know what his weak areas are and what his strong areas are. So we can praise the strong areas, and that's good, but let's work on those weak areas.
Hmm.
So there was a lot of things I had to bring to his attention. Not coming to him fussing or anything like that, but just let him know what the Lord had showed me.
Right.
So then when I would bring it up to him, he would listen, but I could tell the look on his face is like, wow, how does she know this? You know.
Hmm.
But like I said, it's just we do have to talk to y'all, and I think he's even said too, it's a lot of things that I've had to show him, a lot of things that I've had to teach him, especially how to treat me.
Hmm.
Yes, sir.
Hmm. Yeah, because if you're not, because when you're a pastor of a small ministry, you try to be everything for everybody.
Yeah.
You're trying to solve this issue, you're trying to put this fire out, you're trying to do this hello and so forth. So you're trying to do everything that you can do. And it's not that you're trying to overlook the first lady or the pastor's wife, and it's not that we're trying to eliminate them, because honestly, I don't see how a person, a pastor, can operate in ministry without their wife. I've seen it happen many times where their wife is just another member of the church. She has no voice, no say so. I don't know how to do it because it's impossible for me to have my wife just a silent partner in the ministry. I mean, because she does so much behind the scene. And so what you all bring to us, it's not that we're not listening, Man, I wish I had another pastor on to help me out with this situation. My goodness. Okay, it's not that we're trying to not listen, but I think it's just trying to put so many things out at one time, and so trying to be everything for everybody. And it's a learning tool, I know for me. It's a learning tool about how to be a very effective pastor, at the same time, kind of keep everything prioritized, so the house is still taken care of. The wife got her time with her husband, because you, as pastor's wife, you still need your husband time, right? You're not really listening for the pastor. I don't need pastor right now. I need my husband.
I do say that.
I do too.
And so that's important to keep you in a balance, right? When you say the same thing, Sister Cunningham.
Oh yes. I mean, it's imperative that they have time out for us, because we're setting that we hold the bluff of everything when things don't work right, when members do whatever they do, things not lining up. Uh, we get the unfortunately we get the backlash, and it's important that we have our time, because we're surrendering our time so that you can get fasting, praying, studying, and that you can be there with the members when they call. Get up in the middle of the night, go whatever you got to do to be there for your members. But also, we need that special attention to know that we are important as well, and that you're going to go beyond for us as well. So what we do, we have the fifth Sunday off, so we use that as our QT time or whatever to regroup time. So that's what we do at Impact, and
Okay,
it helps
okay,
out.
okay. So, what about you, Sister Tamika? Don't you need your husband time as well? Time away from the ministry, just for you and him together?
Yes, sir. And that was a learning process. It is. It was a long process, but it was a learning process. That is one of the things I had to talk to him about as well. When we was coming up in the ministry, he would set different dates for us, to have our time, but as soon as the pastor would say, you're gonna have to change it, or because I need you or whatever. So I would be like, need you for what? I'm like, but he already knew we set this time aside so we could have our time together. So unfortunately, my husband would cancel. Back in the day, he would cancel just about everything. And see, and that became an issue for us. It really did. It became a big issue. So I told him yesterday, because somehow part of this came up yesterday in Sunday school. So I told I was kidding, but I had said, yeah, I said, y'all pastor almost got divorced. Because you can't keep counseling things. Church is important, but your first ministry is your home. So you have to take care of home first. And if that pastor and his wife is not on one accord, it's very easy for anything to come in, to get through and start to drive a wedge between the two of you. So yes, that quality time is very important. However many times a week that you can get out just to do whatever, that would be great. Before this, well, after this COVID thing happened, but after everything started opening back up, we actually just started going to, have lunch, just having lunch. If that was the only thing we did, we would just sit down together and have lunch.
Wow, that's good to hear. So let me ask this question, Sister Cunningham. How important is your lifestyle, your character, your walk with God, how you in prayer, your study time? How important is that to help you be a helper to your husband?
First of all, I have to do that in order to maintain being godly and to keep my character. And just because first ladies are looked upon, if we don't smile, we frown, and the pastor preaching, they already give some type of what's the word I'm looking for? If the pastor wife not saying amen, then what the pastor doing on the flip side? So we already under a microscope. Yeah. So yes, I have to stay prayed up. I have to stay fast up, and because whatever I say, I could say one thing the wrong way, and that can have a detrimental effect on the ministry, because I wasn't Christian enough. I didn't say it soft enough. I didn't think about you. I didn't come pick you up. I didn't do this. And that, because we're dealing with people business. So people have a mentality say, well, they don't care. They don't do this and they don't do that. And so you have to stay prayed up and fast up to know who you are so that you can remain confident in what you do. Because if not, you'll lose your identity. You'll lose, uh, you'll have an attitude going off on people. And so you have to. And my character reflects the ministry because that's what society reflects. First ladies, whatever they do, if they frown while you preaching, or he didn't do something right, they got trouble at home, So you have to be careful how you. It's like you. I'm too big to walk on eggshells, but it's like you walking on eggshells sometimes
Yeah.
because you have to be careful how you carry yourself on a daily basis, and definitely you have to stay fast up and prayed up
Wow.
because if not, the humanity of you will come out.
Do you feel the same way, Sister Tamika, as well?
Yes, sir. I can't say it no better. She said it all. I agree.
Right. Do you feel like sometimes you are not in a bad way, but sometimes lonely? Not that I'm lonely for another person. I'm lonely for, but just because of what you just said, Sister Cunningham, how you got to walk, how you got to do things, and everybody got their eyes on you. If you don't smile right, and this and that, and so now everybody's looking at you and pulling on you, and sometimes you feel like where am I? Where's my identity? And if you're not careful, you can kind of get lost that all people see you as is a first lady. They don't see you as a person that like to play in your garden outside. They just see you as a first lady. So do you kind of feel lonely when it comes to that area sometimes, Sister Cunningham?
Yes, you do, and that's why I guess we be screaming out in certain ways where we be saying we need attention or we want to go here, we want to go, let's do this, let's just ride out. Because we understand that you guys have a tremendous weight on you, but it also, with that impact on us, we need that extra TLC. We need that just from our mate, just to say, I got you, babe, just to hold you, just I mean, if it's nothing but rose petals, cook a dinner, do in the way to turn your wife on as a pastor and to help her is do something by you doing a honeydew list. Do something to make us feel okay. I got you. You important too. You matter. It ain't just a ministry. You matter.
Okay, all right, and I see you nod your head, Sister Tamika. So you are you also in agreement with that as well?
Yes, sir. I do. And I can say in the beginning, I really felt that way. I really felt lonely, trying to get to know different people, whether the members of the church or different members of other churches, different first ladies, you know, um, it's like, I mean, I ran into a bunch of trouble concerning that. And I'm like, this should not even be. So yes, you can feel a bit lonely, a bit lost at times, but at the same time, that's where, we need to turn to God and just ask him for his help, ask him for his wisdom, and ask him to come and fill that void. Because honestly, it's not just being a first lady, it's just being a child of God. You're going to walk alone during this walk. You're going to think you have a lot of friends or a lot of people you can call on, but in the very end, you're going to walk alone. And I believe that's what God is trying to teach us all. I need you here with me. So that way, anything goes wrong, then I'm here to guide you. I'm here to help you get through this. And God has truly, he has had to help me through so many things, just concerning different people. Like I said, other churches, trying to get to know different first ladies and, get to know different pastors. So yes, it can be lonely at times, but, we have God to help us through it.
Right, right. In your walk as a pastor's wife, and as you're trying to, I guess, pour and jail with other pastors' wives, do you feel sometimes that there's competition, or you don't fit into the mold, or some first ladies kind of feel that you're beneath them, or is it a point where they kind of pull you in and say we want to be a part of this as well, or do you also find, because let me speak from the pastor standpoint, that's why the pastor circle is so small, because a lot of times you're trying to pull with the pastor is all about competition. Your name is not big enough in the community. Your church is not big enough. You can't preach like me, so therefore you don't fit in our group. So when it comes to the first ladies now, so I'm sure your circle of friends as well, and when it comes to the first lady, I'm saying, can also be on that same line. Do you also feel that there's a competitiveness? I'm not saying from you two, but do you feel that sometimes the other first ladies are in competition with themselves or other ministers as well?
Well, for me, I can say yes, everything above that you just mentioned. It's like for me personally, it's like I've been hated when I first walked on the scene. I might not even know the person, but I would get the looks, sneering up your nose at me, just come talk to me. And I do feel like some people judge me, I guess, per se, is because I'm a quiet person. So I have been judged off of that because I am a quiet person. But my thing is get to know me. Don't just sit back and stare at me. Don't just sit back and talk about me. I mean, you can if you want. You ain't hurt my feelings, but just get to know one another because we all need each other. I've been bashed. I mean, I just had a lot of bad experiences as being the first lady, as I was telling you in the beginning, Pastor Jay. Has that stopped me? No, it has made me a little stronger, and I just had to ask God to give me strength to carry on. I've had to be around first ladies I know that didn't like me, just hated my guts, but you couldn't tell me why. So I pray for you. I just rather not deal with
What about you, Sister Cunningham? You kind of agree with that as well? Or you got some feelings about it?
Well, I don't feel as a competition, but me, I just try to see what is the purpose in life.
Yeah.
What are you important to me? What am important to you? And if there's a purpose, then yes, we'll congeal. But if not, then I kind of stay alone in that area because it's so many ism and schisms there. So instead of for me trying to, now we have a circle that I do congeal with, like the ladies, the pastor lounge.
Mm-hmm.
That was all good, but anything outside of that, I really didn't even try to reach out to anybody else.
Wow,
right.
wow, yeah, and that says a lot. As many churches, as many pastors, and many pastor wives as it is, wouldn't you think the circle should be much thicker? As many churches as there are, and many pastors and so forth, there should be many people that we can pull from. But unfortunately, that's not the case. Because everybody's not trying to walk a life of integrity. Everybody's not trying to walk a life that's godly. So therefore, you don't really want to gel with that because it kind of brings a negativity on you to a point. So how do you feel when it comes to the women that's always trying to get it in your husband's face, always trying to, I need to speak to him. I need, and so, because every person, every lady is not trying to get in his face for the good thing. I mean, we just can be real about it. Every woman is not trying to join the ministry because they like the ministry. True story, one time, years ago, this lady, her goal was just to really get with this pastor. That was her MO. And she joined the church and was faithful for a while and so forth, so on. But her goal was to get to him. And she kept trying and kept trying and kept trying and kept trying and kept trying. Unfortunately, the pastor had some holes. And so therefore, he fell for it, found him at the hotel. After that, she walked away from the church. So her goal was that. So when it comes to that, and a lot of times we as men, we think she needs help, she wants help. So you come in, because I tell people all the time, my wife, I'm kind of a tunnel vision guy. I'm looking, 3 and 4 years ahead. And my wife is the one that's looking at the peripheral, and she see all other stuff. And I'm sure you all do the same thing as well, right? So how does that help your husband? Listen to me, because she means you no good. Oh, she just need prayer. Ain't that what we say? And so
Yeah.
how do y'all
Y'all
deal
need
with
prayer.
that? How do y'all deal with that, Sister Cunningham, on a consistent basis to keep everything balanced?
Well, as pastoring, I haven't dealt with that now, but when he was deacon, we had some issues like that where this one sister, the kitchen sink, the bathroom, the car, to the commode, everything tear up, and she need my husband to come down there. And I got to the point, and then she'll tell me how to treat my husband, what I supposed to
Ooh.
do, what to call him, how I can talk to him. At that point, I had to tell her, look, ma'am, when it come to him, I don't need no help.
Mm-hmm.
Anything spiritual you got for me, you can talk to me, but concerning him, we're gonna leave that part alone. And I had to let him know there was no more going to fix anything, no more checking anything, no more church out. That was the end of that. And we came to that conclusion that saw that.
Wow. Wow. So I guess you had to put your foot down
Yes, sir.
and put some things in place. But at the same time, your husband was just kind of going just, well, she just need help, right? She just need help. She just need help. I guess, and there again, just trying to be everything for everybody, because he wasn't trying to do anything with her, but he would just, I'm just going to go fix the commode. Okay, now the sink broke. I need to go fix the sink. And so from his standpoint, he's just trying to just to help her out, right? But at some point in time, you got to step in and say, okay, enough is enough.
Well, it had got so bad that he was like, well, woman, you need to pray. You got a bad spirit. You need to pray about it. And I'm looking at him like, sir, you need to pray. And
Yeah.
this is our thing that he know when I'm at my point that enough is enough. I tell him peace is not going to be multiplied in your house.
Okay.
So when he hear that, he knows something going to have to change. So in order to keep peace in your house, we're going to need to do this. But yes, he did say, I had a bad spirit. I need to go pray. I need to fast. I said, no, she got a Jezebel spirit. That's what you're dealing with. And I said, no, I'm just going to call it like it is. And so eventually he seen. God took the scales off and he was able to see. But yeah, he thought she was just that needy. Yeah. And I'm like, well, somebody else need to help her.
All right, say the same thing too, Lynn.
You agree, Sister Mika, as well? Same thing?
Yes, mine would say some things like that to me too. But once again, Pastor, not throwing y'all under the bus, but I have to go there. This goes back to y'all as well. When it comes to these needy women. Yes, there's some things that y'all can do differently, because to me, what y'all don't understand is y'all throwing a wedge between your own marriage, between your own home, because we all have discernment that God has given to us. So you can discern really what a woman is up to. I mean, we as the wives, we discern off the bat like that. And we have to tell our husbands, look, you better watch out. You better be careful. Because the story that you said, I went through that as well with someone trying to come at my husband, so, and I kept telling him from the beginning, but God had showed me a dream anyway, what had happened before my husband even said anything to me, so we do have to come in and let y'all know, hey, look, this is what's going on here. This is what this female is about. So I'm not sure if y'all eyes just don't want to be open. I understand what you're saying, Pastor, as far as, it's help. You just want to help. Okay, well, let the Lord tell y'all what help the woman needs. She shouldn't be coming and saying, like Lynn said, her stink needs fixing. He was not her husband. So you need a husband or get your boyfriend to do it or, whatever. But, when it comes down to it, we just thank God that y'all really hear us, before something bad, really happens. As, to get that wedge to get out of our house. Because those wedges come in very easily. And a lot of times you're not looking for them, but we're supposed to be on alert at all times. My husband used to tell me, that guy want to talk to you, right? And I'm like, well, no, I don't see that. He said, well, I see it. Oh, okay, so I take his word for it. Hey, you a man, you know how men think. So I'm just taking his word for it. But sometimes it just seems like y'all can't take y'all wife's word for it.
Man.
I just being honest, Pastor.
Yeah. That's that tire rolling on that bus on our head. Now you're throwing it on the bus. but I really can honestly say what you're saying is true because a lot of times, there again, because we are not thinking that way because we know us. I'm not trying to go with her over there, man, because she has nothing to offer me. My focus is at the house. I just see a need and therefore just trying to help the need out. But as we grow, we as we listen to you all, then we become more wise. Okay, well, maybe I need to look in the phone book and call Mr. Roto-Rooter and tell Mr. Roto-Rooter to fix your sink for you this time. So instead of me coming over there or get myself in a situation. So we're learning. It's not that we're not listening to you all. We are learning. It takes us sometimes a little longer to get a process. Because if I tell my wife, hey, that guy over there means you no good. She's gonna say, okay, and move on. We gonna say no, that's not what she want, and you know, we gonna kind of babysit it for a little while, and until we say, okay, man, she really does want me, to a point. So we learning. Trust me, we listening to what
Thank
you,
you.
what
Thank you.
it just
Can
taking
I
us.
chime in again?
Go ahead, yeah, go ahead.
To me, to help y'all out even more, if a
Please.
woman comes to you more than once asking for help, if it's a constant thing, what I'm saying, like once a week, twice a week, every other week, she keeps coming and needing something and wanting something, that's a red flag. You know, it's a red flag, and I do understand that y'all are helpers. Y'all are good helpers. We love y'all for that. That y'all are always thinking about others. We love that very much. But at the same time, y'all are hurting yourselves when y'all do that, especially when your wives confront you about it. But then you say no, that's not it, and you keep at it. Fine, you can say no, that's not what she means. Fine, we can take that. But when you keep doing it, you actually just keep driving a wedge between your home, between your marriage.
Mm, okay, man, that's that right side of the bus. Now, okay, all right, but we listen. We're listening to what you're saying because what you bring to the ministry is vital. Like I said earlier, I don't see how a pastor can really uh, be a pastor of a church and his wife is just silent, has nothing to say. She's viewed as another member of the church, but the role that you all play as pastors' wives is very, very vital. It really helps us to not. I'm not sure how much it's echoed to you, but what you all bring to the ministry from a husband and a pastor perception is vital. And sometimes it may not been put out that way. But from my standpoint, I want to say thank to both of you for what you bring, to the ministry. Because I tell my wife all the time, I thank you for what you do. And they say, oh, it's okay. But it really means a lot because it takes a lot of the weight off the shoulders, of the pastor from what you all bring, And then not only that, but, what you do between the church and the house, at the home, and because the wives mainly take care of most of the stuff at the house, most of the stuff, So what you all do as pastor wives is really, really important, really valid, So that's why we're trying to learn by this broadcast what we can do as members to help ease the load when it comes to the pastor's wife. Because a lot of people, oh, we're going to get a pastor birthday, pastor anniversary, pastor for so on. But what about the pastor's wife?
Right.
What should we be doing to help ease the load, when it comes to you all? That's why I asked the question earlier. If you had the opportunity to talk to the members, if you all did this, it'll make the load a lot easier, So, but what you are doing, let me ask this question: do you love it though? Do you love the ministry and love, being a pastor's wife? Is that part of your vein that you love doing? What do you think about it, Sister Mika?
You asking me?
Yeah. Yes.
No, sir. It's a learning process, and I am still learning. How to be, the title called the first lady. But first of all, I'm just still trying to learn to be a child of God. To be what God has called me to be. Titles mean nothing to me, and people actually prove that. Sometimes titles mean nothing, but as I said, I'm still learning. I love my husband and I love to be by his side and love to help him, but it does get tedious for me. I can't speak for nobody else because it still goes back to what I said in the beginning. It's like first ladies, the pastors' wives just not heard, just get thrown to the side, like you
Hmm.
said, doing the pastor's anniversaries and stuff. And, and I do know that goes back to some teachers in some churches, it's pastors only, so a lot of people come up like that. So you got to get to the point where you can just look past all that stuff and just do what God tells you to do.
Yeah, yeah. What about you, Sister Cunningham? Did you love it? It's in your part of your vein. You sleep half a night thinking about it. What's your what's your take on it?
Well, for me, I love the fact that I can be that helpmate to my husband to push him into the things that God has called him to do. And I love being there to make his life much easier. Um, the say love being a pastor wife, no, because there's not really any. I mean, I just love being there for my husband
Hmm.
Right, right,
and supporting him that, um, that he can do what he got to do that God called him, and that I can take some of the load off of him. Um, but like Sister Tamika said, there's no recognition, no nothing, and not saying that we want it, but everybody likes to be appreciated. I don't care
that's right.
what field you in, what you do, and just a thank you or a hug sometimes, we
Right,
appreciate that. And we know our husband's going to give us that, but we see him from others.
Yeah,
right,
yeah, yeah. So that would be one thing that we can echo from this broadcast is how the people in general kind of view you all or show you some more appreciation and love and so forth. Is that what I'm hearing?
Well, what I'm saying is stop putting us under microscope as what we got to do this, you got to do that, you got to do that. Acknowledge that we do a lot, and we are human just like you are.
Mm-hmm.
So stop holding us to a higher standard that you don't even hold yourself to.
Okay.
right, right,
And like we can't even, like we're not even human. And just recognize who we are,
right. I
Wow.
agree.
because we already feel that our identity been taken, because you're, like I just called her Lady T. I didn't say Tamika. And so we address her up under the leadership of her husband. So it's like her whole identity gone. So now she's Lady T
Mm-hmm.
because of Pastor Tolliver. So
Mm-hmm.
I mean, so now you got to develop the flow into this newness of who am I? I
Mm-hmm.
got to do this. I got to be this person. I got to be that. I got to put this hat on. I got to put that hat on. And you're really not being able to be you.
Right,
Hmm. I
that's
guess
right.
you feel the same way, Sister. Sister Tamika, since I'm in school, that you not Lady T, Sister Tamika. You feel the same way about that as well?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. And that is correct. Everything she said is correct.
Wow, wow. So what do you do then, Sister Cunningham? How do you find your identity then? What do you do to not reclaim yourself, but that you can get from under the microscope every now and then and just be you? What do you do then?
Well, I'm yet still learning prayer, and try to spend more time with God and to develop my relationship with God, and to just try to walk in the fullness of what He called me to do. And there's ministry inside of the First Ladies, and I'm just, trying to develop that, and, go forth with what God called me to do to be the impact to ladies. And once we do that, then, to me, that's more important, that a
Hmm.
woman know her worth.
Yes.
And when you know your worth, then you can walk worthy of the calling, whatever calling you in or God place you in. So,
Hmm.
Hmm.
Same thing, Sister Meek as well. You feel the same way. So what do you do to find you again?
Well, it's what she said. You have to take it to God. That's the only thing I have been doing is going to God and asking him who does he have me to be. I mean, I'm already who he has me to be. It's just that people can't see it.
Hmm.
But I'm not out there trying to prove myself to people. So it's whatever God wants me to do, it's gonna get done. But it's like she said, you've been under a microscope, and You follow in the shadow of your husbands or whatever, and like for me, it's almost like I don't exist. Only my husband does.
Mm.
So like I said, we are in their shadow, but I had to tell somebody before, I am who God says I am. Now you don't see it, that's not on me.
Right.
I'm only here to do what God tells me to do. That's why I said about titles. To me, it don't matter about titles. Everybody's going with titles. First lady, minister, whatever. God doesn't go by titles. So that's why I say I am who he say I am. But if the people don't see it and don't accept it, that's not on me. I'm still just supposed to do what God tells me to do. So I used to kind of fight with that, but I'm done fighting with that. That's over.
Mm-hmm.
It is what it
Wow,
is.
wow, wow. First of all, I want to thank you all for being on the broadcast with us tonight because I learned a lot tonight as well just by listening to what you're saying, and I'm sure people that's going to watch as well going to also learn some things as well. So, last question for both of you. I'm gonna start with you, Sister Cunningham. The person now, the husband and the wife now that are on the edge of starting their ministry. They're on the edge now becoming the pastor and pastor's wife. What advice would you give to that pastor wife that now, or even to the pastor, what would you sit down and tell them, and to help them not kind of feel the way you feel, and what advice would you tell them? I asked both of you those questions. So Sister Cunningham, you first.
First of all, I would tell them to always have some me time, some QT time for one another. Also, you're going to need space for one another to just um, hear from God. And the men, this is something that you guys lack, and not to be a punch at you, but sometimes we as women just want you to be a sounding board just to hear. We don't want you to fix it. We don't want you to tell us what to do. We just want it to vent. And sometimes we need our husbands to be there to just listen. Starting out, have a bond and know that you are your first ministry, uh, the husband and wife unit, and then we'll build from that place forth for the ministry, and set some boundaries. What's not going to happen? This not going to happen, or this going to happen, and have standards. Um, because if you keep the standard of respect, the standard of uh, we're not going to go in one on one, no woman, and my husband. Uh, Biblical standards are there in place, and if we follow those, then we won't have much adversity as to
That's
come
right.
in ministry.
That's right.
Just respect one another,
Right.
because you're going to need one another.
Amen.
You're going to be your A team.
Right.
Wow. Same question to you, Sister Tamika, as well.
Well, I agree with her setting those standards and boundaries. But one small piece of advice I would give somebody just starting out as well is talk to different pastors. Not for you to build your ministry up on, but to just get some insight into what happened, what will happen. Because sometimes people need to see. Because a lot of people start not going blinded. They go off of what they think. So I believe counseling. Just sit down talking to different pastors so they can share their stories of what they went through, what their downfalls were, or and then how God did build them up. So I think that's very important.
Wow, that's good information from both of you. Again, thank you both for being here tonight. Thank you for your input and just your honesty and transparent, that you brought to the broadcast tonight. I'm sure people that's watching it now and later will really, really see and hear what you're saying, because you're just not saying words, but you're actually, putting things out there that we need to hear. From a leader standpoint, from a pastor standpoint, from a husband standpoint, also from a member standpoint, we need to hear these things because what you share tonight, majority of the first ladies will not say what you just said because it's all about your image. It's all about how you come to church, and they don't share the feelings that they may share the feeling that you have, but that they're not going to voice it,
Right.
just like you did tonight.
Because
So
they don't have a voice.
right. They don't have a voice, right? So they can't voice it, right? Right. But thank you again for being on the broadcast tonight. And we really hopefully get you back at another time so we can talk about some more things, because there's so much more we can talk about, so much more area that we can go in. But I really want to appreciate you coming on tonight and being a guest on our show tonight. And as people will watch it later on, will see, man, I can identify with that. And it may change somebody's life around how they respond to you, how they respond to you as a first lady, as a person, and just share something with you. So there again, thank you tonight for being with us tonight. As always, this is Pastor Jackson from the Empowerment Broadcast. And like we always say, it's designed to help us and to stretch us and to really help us see, the things that God's doing in life. So until next time, you guys take care. We love you all. Be blessed. Take care. Bye-bye.
Thank you.